Hear me. Testing, testing. Or maybe not that well. Whoop. Let me do this. Ugh, too much light. All right. Well, look, we're gonna do this. I am got a new routine going here in my life, and I am finding ways to do this without ripping it apart. All right, that's gonna work. All right. No, yes. No, yes. Okay. I hope you guys can hear me. Let me know. Hey, Mia, what's up? Welcome. Maybe you can hear me better if I use my microphone. How's it going, Mia? How's it going? I'm just gonna say hi to you for a minute since you're here. Give you the floor. We're talking about the inner saboteur, the inner imposter, the one that causes you to doubt yourself, fear, run away from what you are put here to do. How are you doing? I'll go ahead and do the intro. I'm good. I'm so good. That's cute. I wish I could hear you say that. That's very adorable. I love it. So good to be good. Today we're talking about the saboteur. You're a child of the Most High. You're chosen. And the question is, okay, if there was something holding you back from your life purpose, oh, I'm doing fine. I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Like I said, I got some new routine going, and it's good. I'm dialing things in. That's all. I'm learning to dial things in. So I'm doing really well. I'm doing really well. I looked to the side because I got to use the restroom, but I'm gonna do this because I just don't want to stop. I really want to do this. So today we're gonna be talking about defeating the inner saboteur, the inner imposter. Mia, do you ever have like a time where you're like, I want to do this thing, but then there are all these, oh, you can't because you don't have the time, or they're not gonna like it, or you're not good enough, or whatever. Do you ever have that? If you do, just let me know. Say yeah, no, whatever. So when we get into the video, so you're a child of the Most High, all right, Mia, and anybody else, and you came into this world with a contract. Just imagine this, okay? We come into this world with a contract, and part of the contract is there's going to be a parasite attached to you while you're here. And this parasite, pardon me, is going to slow down your progress. It's not going to let you move forward with like absolute freedom, and because your game would end too early. The game would end too early. You would do all the things you were put here to do by the age of 2. And you'd be like, that wasn't long enough. So you come into this world with a parasite, a saboteur, an imposter that feeds you with fears. You develop this imposter over the years of your childhood by listening to your parents, listening to society, listening to the world around you. And you build this imposter, you build this saboteur so that you can live a long life. Because I'm telling you, there are people that come here and they don't have the saboteur, they don't have the parasite, they don't have the imposter. And by the age of 10, they've accomplished everything and they die. Literally. I've heard so many stories of people that were exceptional and just died at age 10. They did all these amazing things and just died. When I was a kid, I used to hear the stories. It was part of building my imposter. All right. I do feel that way sometimes, says Mia. And Mia says, I overcome it, though I have great confidence. Yeah, I'm so glad. I'm so glad. Yeah. Having confidence is a great way to defeat that imposter, that saboteur. All right, Gamers Paradise. You're doing great, man. Thank you, Gamers Paradise. I appreciate that. So we're going to talk about this inner saboteur, this inner imposter, because the saboteur, the imposter, sometimes masquerades as the wise one, the warning one, the cautious one, the one that's here to protect you and keep you safe. We're going to get right into it. So what if there was a saboteur inside of you that stopped you from seeking your desires, getting your desires, no matter how hard you worked, no matter how hard you tried, If you could identify this imposter, if you could face this imposter, and if you could then remove it or at least silence it, would you? Let me know in the comment section below. All right. White mics. I knew like 2 or 3 white mics. All right. We should smoke sometime. I don't smoke. All right. Gamers Paradise. Which car are you sitting in? I am sitting in a Bugatti Chiron. Not really, but I'm going to call it that. Every time someone asks me, I'm going to say Bugatti Chiron. I don't think I would ever buy a Bugatti Chiron, but let me know if I'm saying that right. I've just heard it. I've looked it up, but I've never really paid a lot of attention to it. This is one of the most expensive cars out there, and I just want to use it. So yes, this is a Bugatti Chiron, and there you go. All right, what's your job? I am an arborist, but my job really is that I create the space where the Most High God speaks to his chosen. That's my job. Now, I do assessments for a major company to make places safe for people, and I do that, but that's just how I love it too. At times I love it. But it's just, I'm an arborist outside of this and a phenomenologist. This is my phenomenology half of my brain, my human development, my spirituality half of my brain. The arborist, land management, that other stuff, I do that on, uh, I'll call it on the side. This is my main job, but I do that on the side to fuel this kind of stuff. So yeah, that's my job. Let me get right into it. So by the end of today's video, you'll know how to identify the saboteur. Thank you, Mia. You'll know how to identify the saboteur, that inner imposter. You'll know how to spot its tricks. You'll know its mind games, and you'll learn 5 tools to defeat it forever. Every chosen one has to keep this saboteur, this inner imposter in line. You've got to keep him in line, but it's also part of your contract. It's kind of how you live here and stay here for a long time on the earth. So it's not a bad thing, but it is something that if you make it your master, it is a terrible master. You want to turn it into your slave. So you want to keep that saboteur on the bus, just put him in the back of the bus so you can't hear him as well. Okay? So I'm going to get right into how do you identify this inner imposter, this saboteur. Now, the way that you identify it is in how you feel when you hear its voice. Now, you're not necessarily hearing its voice audibly, and if you are, perhaps talk to a psychiatrist. But if you are getting these thoughts and these impressions and these ideas that keep coming to you and stopping you from progressing, progressing joyfully or productively, then you've got an inner saboteur, an inner imposter that's getting in your way. So this saboteur has to live off of you. Think of it like a spiritual entity, like a stomach worm or some sort of parasite or fungus living off of you. It needs you to survive. It will not survive without you. It cannot experience the world without you. And so if you grow, it dies. If you live fully, it dies. Every single time you defeat it, or every single time you defeat your fears, your doubts, your limitations, it dies a little bit or dies completely. And a new imposter comes to try and get you. But anyway, we're going to get into that. So the inner imposter, we'll just call it the saboteur, is a parasite. Okay, it's a spiritual parasite. And it's a spiritual entity that actually pretends to be you. It pretends to be you. When you look into the mirror and it says, I don't look that good, or people don't like me, or I need to lose, I don't know, I need to lose weight. You probably need to work on your health, definitely. But it tells you bad things about yourself that drop your spirit down. Okay? And so it uses familiarity and habits to keep you stuck, to keep you from moving forward, and keeps you from feeling empowered, enriched, joyful, enthusiastic, and in flow. All right. All right. Marie Dockery says, hey, family. Hello, Marie. Welcome to the video. We're talking about the saboteur, that inner imposter that stops us from moving forward. By the end of today's video, you're going to learn how to identify it, how to know its mind games, and how to stop it from speaking, because you are a child of the Most High. You're a chosen one. and it is your job to decide your destiny. God has already given that to you. And a lot of times the church teaches us all of this stuff about, oh, you're not good enough and you haven't made it and you need to keep working and keep trying. And God is saying, no. Jesus paid the price. I've given you all the victory. Just trust it and move forward. When you make mistakes, guess what? I'm there with you. I'm there in the fire with you, like Jesus was with the three Hebrew boys. I go before you. Okay, like it says in the Psalms, the name of the Lord goes before me, it goes behind me, it is around me. So, children of the Most High God, children of the Most High God, have nothing to fear. The saboteur is just something that keeps you moving slow. It can't stop you, by the way. All right. All right. So Mia says, "What's your name, if you don't mind me asking? I never knew it. It's okay if you want to keep it confidential. My name is Merlin. My real name is Lemurulum Sai, but my name is Merlin. My nickname is Merlin. People call me Merlin because I am profoundly enchanting and magical. I'm kind of a sorcerer. A sorcerer. I use source energy to create beautiful things in the world. Not the kind of sorcerer you might think. All right. So anyway, the saboteur dies when you live, and it lives when you die. So anytime you feel drawn down, pulled down, sad, dark, afraid, doubtful, that's the saboteur in control of your life. It is your master. But when you feel uplifted and empowered, overcoming your fears and doubts and insecurities, that's when you've defeated it. And God has given you that victory. So your fears, your self-doubt, your self-loathing, your insecurity, criticism, blame, shame, hatred, all of these things feed the saboteur. So when someone says something to you that's, let's say you feel negatively towards someone, that's the saboteur. Now, again, we have a self-protective mechanism that allows us to know where safety is and not. That's not the saboteur. The self-protective mechanism doesn't use fear to cripple you. It may use fear to pull you from danger or to stop you from doing something that would sabotage your future or something like that. All right, Mia says, "Oh my God, hey Merlin, yeah, I spell it with a Y. Yeah, ha ha ha. Oh my God, this came up. Oh, that's beautiful. When I type your name, I will never forget this. I'm glad, Mia. Thank you, Mia. And I spell it Merlin, Merlyn, to give homage to the original Merden of Anglo-Saxon folklore and Celtic folklore. Celts had a Merden was the, I think the original was Merden, Meryd, and anyway, I'm getting off topic here. But yes, that is my nickname. People call me that because I'm very magical. All right, so the saboteur feeds on your fears, all of these negative feelings, because when you have these negative feelings, you don't move forward into divine light of God's presence, the divine presence of your Most High God, of the Most High God. And so when you don't move into that presence, the saboteur, the parasite, can live. And so it's like having a really strong immune system. You have a very strong immune system, fungi, parasites, viruses, these things can't survive in you. They need you to be weak. They need you to be hopped upon all kinds of things to destroy your health so that they can survive. And you notice that cancer, new studies, not new studies, old studies, but they're finally making them public, shows that cancer lives in an acidic and sugar-filled environment. It loves those sorts of things. So do fungi and viruses and other things. And so when you remove these detrimental things from your body, from your system, from your health, and things like that, your body just naturally defeats cancer and viruses and all these other things. All right, lots of studies have demonstrated that. All right, so let's get into some of the tricks the saboteur actually uses. Okay, so one of the main tricks that the saboteur uses to keep you from moving forward is the notion of should. It's the idea that I have to do this before I can do that. Now, in life, definitely we have things that are progressive, right? You learn to walk, crawl before you walk, and walk before you run, okay? There's a natural progression here. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about when, let's say that you're a young lady or a young man, and you're attracted to someone, and you see them every day, but you don't want to talk to them because you don't feel good enough to talk to them. The saboteur is going to tell you you're not good enough. You need to become richer, sexier, smarter, whatever, in order to talk to that person. You're not good enough yet. That's the main message behind this. The whole should ideology is like, I should do this before I can do that. When it comes to doing things that you can do right now, but you're not doing them because you're afraid, it's the saboteur telling you you're not ready. So that's the main first lie, is that you're not ready. You're not ready to live the life of your dreams. You're not ready to have the things you want. You're not ready to quit that job and start that business, okay? Perhaps there is validity to it, but if you notice that this voice becomes a stumbling block and stops you from moving forward, silence it, okay? The second lie and trick of the saboteur, the inner imposter, is warning you. Now, definitely fear is a valuable thing because you can use it to protect yourself from danger. But when it warns you, like, in the past, if I found a woman attractive, it would blast my mind with all the negative experiences that I had with women growing up. And so those were the warnings. But when I allowed myself to ignore the imposter and go for it, every single time it was a win. Either got her number, either went further than that, or I learned something. And so the warning that, okay, um, don't, let's see, don't try to sing because people won't like your voice and they'll laugh at you. You'll be embarrassed and then you'll feel sad and then you'll cry. Okay, so well, then I'll get stronger and then I'll become better and then I'll practice and I'll refine my voice, or I'll find my voice. More than refine it, I'll find it. Okay, so the saboteur is going to warn you so that you don't move forward. It's going to say you're not big enough or strong enough to do it. Okay, third thing is that it uses your challenges that are actually intended for growth to fuel your doubt. So I'll give you an example. I faced the challenge of not having my pay come to me on time. It was like 4 days late, 5 days really. Yeah, 5 or 6 days late. My check from work, one of the jobs I do. And it caused me, the inner saboteur was like, oh, you should quit this job. Your life's gonna fall apart. Everything is bad. Blah 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 blah. Everyone's out to get you. And it was the spiraling down into darkness and fear. And it actually almost cost me a viable revenue source that I enjoy, that was beneficial to me. And so the challenge was learning how I'm actually independent financially. I don't need a job to live a rich, abundant, prosperous life. But the challenge of knowing that by having my check come to me late was what my inner, not my inner, but the saboteur was using to cause me to almost jeopardize my revenue stream. And so it was telling me, you need to quit your job and these people don't care. And these are great people I work with. Like, it's a win all the way around. I got a great team that I work with, great leadership. My boss, supervisor, and all those are wonderful people. I get paid very well and I love what I'm doing. I'm in the forest all the day looking at trees like, oh, I've got an exceptional life. And it was trying to get me to make my life harder. And so the challenge of not having that paycheck on time was a great reminder that I don't need this job. And so the saboteur was trying to say, well, then you need to quit it. You need to sue them for not giving you your check, which was asinine. All right. So Mia says, do you come up with the things you say, or is this preached because this is revolutionary? I don't know. I get into a flow. Something tells me, talk about this today. And I just kind of listen to it, and it's my team. So that's a good question because it reminds me of the fact that we have saboteurs, but we also have a support team of angels, of spiritual guides, of mentors, of course, the Most High God Himself, our Father. But we have support, we have power, we have all of that at our disposal. So from that source comes these. I have like 15 other videos that are en route to come out that I just haven't done yet because I wrote them. I wrote the whole script and I just haven't, made the time to do it. It's that simple. I haven't made the time. So these come from the Most High, from that space that God creates, that God uses to create to create inspiration. And I'm learning to find my voice and just do it because I love it. And I love to inspire and uplift and encourage people. And the chosen ones, I found my purpose. My purpose is that I create the space where the Most High speaks to His chosen. That's just what I do. And I sit there and I get to observe. Sometimes I'm not even talking. It's not me talking. It's my team using me. So I don't, you know, that's just where it comes from. That's the best way I can answer that this time, Mia. Thank you for the question. All right. So another way that the saboteur uses the other thing the saboteur, the imposter, does is that one of its tricks is it says, what will others think? And one of the least relevant questions you will ever ask in your life is, what will other people think? When it comes to purpose, when it comes to being a chosen one, when it comes to doing the thing that God put you here to do, the Most High God put you here to do, what other people think is completely irrelevant. Completely. Why? Because other people know reality based on the patterns that led up to now. You are timeless. As a child of the Most High, you're actually a virtue. You're one of the angels that fell from heaven. We're like Lucifer in the sense that we're morning stars. We're the morning stars that sang before God. And we fell out of that into these human bodies, and we're here to just do our job, which is to make this world more beautiful than it's ever been. And so, and bring God's presence here and reestablish God's kingdom on earth. And so, as you're here and you're going through the world and you're waiting to see what gummy worms and scenery people are going to say about what you're doing, you're never going to move forward. And you're going to have to keep coming here and coming here and coming here and coming here. And at some point, you're going to say, yo, I've done this too many times. I need to stop worrying about what other people think. And so the saboteur, that inner imposter, will come and say, hey, what do your mom think if you become a singer? Or what are your dad going to think if you're struggling and you can't pay bills and blah, blah, blah. Or what are your wife? This is what really gets you. What will your kids say? How will it impact your children? How will it impact your wife or your husband, your spouse, or whatever, right? And so the inner imposter uses what will other people think to stop you from doing what God put you on this earth to do. What if the Wright brothers, they made the first, well, not the first airplane, but they made the first airplane of this era. There were airplanes thousands of years ago, and jets and interdimensional beings and all this stuff of interdimensional vehicles and things that travel between planets, but I'm not going to talk about that now. But the Wright brothers brought the airplane to the modern era, the last 200 years, okay? Again, planes existed thousands of years ago, jets and everything. Too much evidence for that. I won't go into it. I was there. But anyway, I'm a virtue, like you are as a chosen one. We've done this before. Let's get back on topic. So whenever you let what other people think decide how you move forward and where you go in life, you're stopping. God has called you. Jeremiah 33 verse 3 says, call upon me and I will answer you and show you a new thing, a great and mighty thing which has never been done before. Isaiah 43 verse 18 and 19 says, forget the former things. Don't even remember the past. For I show you a new thing. God is always the leading edge of reality. God is always the leading edge, moving us to this next step in our evolution, in our growth, in our joy, in our beauty. So when you think about what would other people think, you're slowing yourself down and you're relying on the past. Okay. All right. Nelson says, hi, you remember me? Nelson recall? No, I don't. I'm just going to let you know. I don't know when the last time you were here, Nelson. But let me know when we interacted, and I will dig into my memory banks and I will recall you. All right. So, yeah, worrying about what others think. The other thing that the saboteur will do is use sacrifice, struggle, and suffering. It'll give the impression that you have to sacrifice yourself. You have to struggle for the thing that you want. You have to suffer to please God. These are all lies. These are satanic lies that the church preaches, Christianity in general, religions in general teach you have to sacrifice, struggle, and suffer. God never asked us to do that. The sacrifice of Jesus Christ, this is why Christianity is the apex religion, because it already has a system that teaches us that God already did it. God did it for you. God already paved the way. You're a child of the Most High God. You ain't got to worry about all that. Move forward with confidence, with clarity, enthusiasm, and flow. Trust. You've got this. When you run into challenges, you're going to be fine. It's going to hurt. It's not going to feel great. You'll get through it. But you don't have to struggle. You don't have to suffer. Pain is a necessary part of growth. It's like when your teeth fall out or when your teeth grow in, there's discomfort. When you're growing, you sometimes have growing pains. When you go through menses, if you're a girl, like you go through your period, your puberty, there are some discomforts, okay? You can sit there and cry about it and focus on it and, poor me, or you can say, you know what, this is part of it. Let me tighten my belt. Let me stand up tall. I've got this. Or if it feels bad, okay, cry, break down for a minute, but get back on your feet and keep going. What the saboteur does, the inner imposter does, is keeps you down. Okay. The other trick, there's a lot of tricks, y'all. The other trick is it uses the moral sense. Okay, moralism. I can't do that because it's not right. When you know it doesn't matter. Okay. Um, Let me use something that'll make really a lot of sense. For me, growing up, I grew up Seventh Day Adventist, and you know, um, we did things like, eat vegetarian foods and things like that. And this was in the '80s and '90s, and it was great. It was a wonderful experience. I'm very glad that my parents allowed me to have that experience. Um, I don't know if that's the best example. All I'm saying is there's this moral sense. And the moral sense is not objective morality. Objective morality is what you know in your guts, in your core, in your inner being that tells you do this, don't do that. Okay, everybody has it. Babies know not to kill their mothers, right? Um, I don't know. You get where I'm going with this, right? I hope so. All right. So there's a moral sense and there's objective morality. Objective morality says there is an ultimate end. There's an ultimate end that is prosperous and peaceful and beautiful and harmonious. It ends toward harmony. Moral sense, the moral sense, and I got to make a whole video. I have made videos on this. The moral sense is really based on what the group thinks. And it actually goes back to what will other people think. You're in a church club. One of the moral senses during early World War II was for the Nazi Party was to report people of Jewish descent to the government. In Russia and Soviet Russia, it was to report people to the KGB. That was their morality. That that was their moral sense, right? That's what the group told them to do, but it wasn't objectively moral because people were suffering and it was contributing to the disharmony of that society. Disharmony of that society. All right, all right. And then the last two things, last two tricks that the inner saboteur uses or the inner imposter uses is paranoia, where you get afraid of everything. Oh, they're out to get me, and everything's gonna fall apart, and oh my God, it's the end of the world. And the final trick is I'm too busy. I'm too busy to build my business on the side. I'm too busy to spend time with this person, or I'm too busy to talk to this guy that I like or this girl that I like, whatever, right? I'm too busy. When in fact, you make time for things that are valuable to you. If your dreams are not valuable enough to you for you to make time for them, then they're not valuable. And why should God ever support your dreams? So there are people that say, oh, I'd love to build that business or I'd love to create that thing, but I just don't have the time. What? That's your dream. Why in heaven would God support your dream if you don't make time for it? If it's 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day, look, I have a great body, okay? If I didn't have, I have a great body. I can say that for certain. However, there are things I like to do to make it look even better. I'd like to build more muscle. I'd like to tighten this up. I have a six pack already, I get it. But like there's more that I want to do, right? And so I could tell myself, okay, I've made it. I don't have enough time to work out every day. No. My life living in the car has given me the gift of working out every single day because I got to go to the gym every day because I ain't trying to be stinky, right? So I shower every day. Why not just work out? So saying that you don't have time is one of the ways the inner imposter stops you from going where you want to go. If you have a dream, go for it. Do it now, today, while you're watching this video start. And it doesn't, and this is another thing. Let me put this one out there. This is number 8 or whatever it is. The inner imposter will also say, oh, you got to do it all at once. You have to do everything now. No, you don't. Let's say you want to be a great author. Well, come up with a title today. Heavens, don't even come up with a title today. Come up with an idea for a title and have it done by Friday. And every day contribute a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 15 minutes to it. If you want to write a book, start with a title, start with a page, start with an idea. Start now, start today. The inner saboteur will tell you, you have to get it all done first. You got to build this giant idea. No, you don't. That's the inner saboteur. That's the inner imposter. It is the parasite stopping you from completing God's mission for you on this earth. All right. So those are tricks. Those are the tricks. So how do you defeat? These are the 5 ways to defeat it. Yeah, we can do it. 8 o'clock. Time to eat. It's dinner time. So there are multiple ways to defeat it. Here are 5 ways to overcome, defeat, silence, kill the inner imposter. Silence that inner imposter. Okay? So, rational selfishness. You have to put your highest interests first. Is it in your best interest to keep doing a deadbeat job that you know the outcome is going to be sick, sad, sorry at age 65? Is that the best thing for you? Or is the best thing for you to build what you want to do now? Perhaps even walking away from that sort of entanglement. Think about it. Okay, so putting your highest interest first. In the area of relationships, you have to be rationally selfish. No good relationship is based on people that sacrifice and compromise. Ever, 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 ever. Not for a chosen one. Not for a child of the Most High God. If you're in a relationship where you have to compromise and sacrifice and give in and blah, 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 eventually it's going to fall apart. Like I said, if you're not taking time to contribute your energy and your focus to your dreams, to your desires, what feels good for you in life, why in heaven would God? God is not your parents. God is not society. God is not the one that's going to force you to do something you don't want to do. No. God is like, okay, look, I gave this talent, I gave you this thing in your heart, this beauty that no one else can bring to the world, and it is your job to bring it into the world. If you want to do it, let's go. If you don't, well, okay, that's up to you. So, rational selfish means putting yourself first always, 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 but doing so harmoniously. Okay? The second way to defeat the inner saboteur, and by the way, that's going to clear out all the self-doubt, self-criticism, all this stuff. If you're doubting yourself and you have a dream and you know that doubt is getting in the way, you're going to find a way to put the doubt away. You're going to get coaches, you're going to get mentoring, you're going to learn some skills, whatever it is, to overcome that doubt, and you're going to get there. All right, the second thing is the moral objectivity. Pardon me. It helps you to overcome the moralism, the moralistic ideas of, okay, I can't do that because that's not the right thing. It's not the right thing to divorce my wife and pursue a woman that I actually like. In the research study that I did, there was a woman that had an affair. Okay, I'm gonna be straight up, and I won't be graphic, but she had an affair, and she knew God told her to do that. Now I know it sounds crazy to people because the Bible says don't commit adultery. Well, again, the church totally destroyed the message of God in the Ten Commandments, and it moralized them. It didn't make them a science. But again, that's another video for another day. So I've known people who felt the presence of God. For personal, I've been to events and things that most people would completely say are immoral, and I felt the presence of God, and I knew God told me to do that. Look throughout the Bible. Look at the Hall of Faith. God told Abraham to sacrifice his son. Now, again, that's an allegory. So God tells you to kill your kid. No, don't do that. Don't even try to do that. That's disharmonious and stupid. Don't even think about it. Even if they get on your nerves, right? That's stupid. Don't do that. It's an allegory. Again, the Bible's been poorly translated, but I digress. It's the greatest book ever. It still is, even with the cultural lens that we've used on it. But moral objectivity means that basically we know what's good. We know what's true. We know what's right inside of ourselves. All right. And so knowing what's ultimately right and what's ultimately harmonious, God will take you to places. Look, I'll use this example because hopefully this helps drive it home. When I was a Seventh-day Adventist Christian, I was trying to learn Hebrew because I wanted to know what the Bible actually said. I knew at age 13 or 14, even younger than that, that the Bible was probably not saying everything that it originally said. I knew that from the time I was probably well in my single digits, right? And so I was like 13 or 14, and I tried to translate the book of Isaiah into. I realized that, oh, okay, this is not word for word. So I knew that when you go from one language to another, some meaning is lost. I knew that from as a child because my parents and whatever, there's multiple languages spoken in my family lineage, not in my household, but in my family lineage. So I was like, okay, huh. So how do we know that the Bible wasn't like didn't mess up somewhere, along the lines? And so I tried to translate it. It led me to go into a Jewish synagogue, which was immoral because the Jews rejected Christ. They're not Christian. So a lot of Christians around me went like, why are you going to a synagogue? That's not right. And I just went. Later on, I went to a Sunday church, which was really bad for Adventists. Oh, you're going to the synagogue of Satan. They worship on Sunday. That's bad and wrong. Well, I went and I found more of God's presence. When I was in college, God told me, you're done with Adventism. Go become a Buddhist. That was immoral because now I'm worshiping a false god, apparently. And the Buddhists don't worship Buddha, but Siddhartha, but whatever, right? That's how the Adventists saw it. So a moral objectivism allowed me to break free from the moralism and actually find God's presence and hear God's voice. And so that's what God may call you to do that, you know. So anyway, listen for that and understand that there's a harmonious end. Okay. And then the third way to defeat the inner imposter is to practice a sense that the world is your mirror. It's called transcendent self-awareness. So when you are dealing with the world and you're being selfish, rationally selfish, and you're being morally objective, so you're saying, I put my needs first. When you get to transcendent self-awareness, you're looking in the world and you're saying, if I do something harmful to that person over there because I think I'm serving my ends, I'm actually doing something harmful to me. And so that's understanding of the world's mirror. Anything you do out there is actually a reflection of you. And that's one of God's divine laws. Paul said it. He said, whatsoever you sow, that shall you also reap. All right, it's said in the New Testament epistles. And so if you sow a seed, it's going to come back as fruit. And if the seed you are sowing is the fruit you want to reap, then sow that seed. But if you're rationally selfish, the inner saboteur is not going to stop you from sowing good seeds. It can't, because you're thinking about your best interests. If you're morally objective, the community around you that tells you don't go to the synagogue and don't go to the masjid or the Muslim, church, masjid, the mosquito. Don't go to the whatever, right? Don't go pursue God in nature. Don't do a ritual in pagan religion because that's the devil, right? Well, then you're going to realize that all of that's getting in the way of your relationship with God. And if God is telling you, go here now, then you're going to do it. And so you're going to understand that harmoniously, you're going to treat the world as a mirror. You're going to understand that the world outside of you is a reflection of you. You're going to do everything you can to be harmonious with that, but you're not going to stop yourself from moving forward and getting what you are here to get and giving what you're here to give. Okay? All right. And then the fourth way to beat the inner imposter, the saboteur, is to have an intrinsic sense of virtue. You don't need the group to tell you what's right or wrong. This goes back to moral objectivity. You don't need the group to tell you what's right and wrong. I call the intrinsic virtue the guts and nuts, right? You listen to your guts and nuts. And again, if you're a girl, you don't got nuts, but ovaries and nuts, we'll just call them nuts, right? But the idea is there's an inner knowing about truth, right? There's an inner knowing about truth. And that's something that comes between you and God. And by the way, life will test you. Life will put you in situations where you have to do things that a lot of people would think are wrong, like, for instance, cussing your boss out. I mean, I'm not saying go and do that, but perhaps the boss is being very abusive and they're getting in your face or doing something, or they're being, inappropriate consistently and they think that it's okay and they're getting away from it over and over and over again. Best thing to do is report it and move on with your life. But at that moment, God may give you holy fire. You may have to bless this person with a couple of words, I'm not saying to do that, but I'm saying there are things that, like, for instance, you'll be told, I've done it myself. I was working for a doctor once and he was getting all over my face and I had to bless him out in Jesus' name, if you know what I mean. And after that, he always respected me, right? He was like, okay, I can't push this person over anymore. And guess what? The patients had a better experience as a result because now they were safer. Because the doctor wasn't causing me to hold back on my ideas or hold back on safety concerns because I was afraid of being treated poorly. Now I had blasted him and he had to pipe down and we could do what was right for the patient. And I also had the confidence when I saw something wrong, because I have a pair of eyes too, I could point it out and make sure the patient was all right. So again, intrinsic sense of virtue, listen to your inner guts. And finally, evidence-based compassion. Now, this goes back to self-sacrifice, struggle, suffering, all that stuff. What does the group think? All that stuff. Like, sometimes a person will come to you and say, I need your help. I need your help. I need you to help me. I need you to do something nice for me or whatever. And God's going to tell you, don't help that person. Ignore them. They don't need your help. They're like losers, and I'm working with them. Stay away from them. God has told me that with some people that were important to my life. Or excuse me, not anymore. They were in the past. I loved them dearly. I wanted to give them everything, and I almost gave them my life many times. Gave up my life trying to do everything for them, and then God said, "Stop it. That's not your job. There's one. There's only room for one on the cross, and that's Jesus. Stay out of it. Stay the heavens out of it." Right? And so, evidence-based compassion allows you to only help when it serves your highest goals. Go back to rational selfishness. It was a little bit heavy of a discussion, but I thought I'd get it out of the way. All right, so remember that the inner imposter, the saboteur, cannot stop you from reaching your goals and pursuing your dreams. It can slow you down, but it cannot stop you. Don't let it get in the way. Don't let it slow you down. So that's what I have to say about that. Thank you for watching, those who did, and I appreciate your patience with my with this video. It's actually a great video. It's just that I'm ready to end this day. Have a wonderful day. Stay Apex.